Penguin Random House Audio presents Pronoun Trouble, the story of us in 7 little words. This is the author, John McWhorter. Dedication. Maye. Introduction. The title of this book is based on a line from one of the cleverest of the Looney Tunes, Rabbit Seasoning. It's one of the Hunting trilogy, 3 shorts of the early 1950s in which Elmer Fudd tries pursuing Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, only to wind up, between occasional rifle shots at Daffy, essentially spectating as they engage in verbal hijinks. I should mention that getting shot in this cartoon world is a matter not of injury but embarrassment, with the shot leaving Daffy sooty and with his beak out of kilter. But the relevant sequence is: Bugs, would you like to shoot me now or wait till you get home? Daffy, shoot him now, shoot him now. Bugs, you keep out of this. He doesn't have to shoot you now. Daffy, ha, that's it. Hold it right there. Pronoun trouble. It's not he doesn't have to shoot you now. It's he doesn't have to shoot me now. Well, I say he does have to shoot me now, so shoot me now. Blam. Goofy as Daffy's confusion about the difference between me and you seems, toddlers take a while to get past a similar mistake. Hearing others refer to themselves with I and my, and always hearing themselves referred to with you and your. At first, small ones take the pronouns as labels, like names. You means themselves, and thus they talk about themselves as you while referring to another person as I. One of the cutest things one of my daughters used to say as a toddler was to get someone to pick her up by asking, with such plangent urgency, "Carry you?" repeating what adults had said to her when picking her up. Her actual enunciation was, "Caillou?" As elementary as it seems, the distinction between me and you is a kind of mental gymnastic. It actually makes sense that my daughter heard carry you as a single word, which she could wield like asking water. Over time, children get that the you and me parts have to do with the difference between themselves and others, and furthermore that these parts shift rather magically in reference. They must learn that while someone calls themselves me, you're supposed to refer to them instead as you, while calling yourself me, despite that others refer to you as you. That's deeper than calling a doggy a doggy. Me and you require tiny people to learn a trick, as it were, something counterintuitive that they'll have to wield moment by moment for the rest of their entire lives. Wangling the difference between me and you, as opposed to just knowing that a giraffe is a giraffe, is a conditioned reflex. This is one of many indications of how deeply pronouns are seated in our linguistic consciousness, crucial to navigating the complexities of human existence and cognition. They are, always and forever, fierce, captious little things, with stories to tell and lessons to teach about what it is to process existence as a human being in an ever-changing world. They're not just words in the sense that nouns are. Pronouns, rather, sub for nouns. My partner reminds me that the Russian word for pronoun is местоимение, in place of name. Pronouns are less words than traffic lights of a kind. A crucial difference is that a language is always drinking in new nouns, verbs, and adjectives. New nouns are our normal: iPhone, NFT. New verbs to someone 40 years ago would include email, text, and ping. To someone from 1950 observing us now, ginormous and cringe, as in that's a little cringe, isn't it, would qualify as new adjectives. But pronouns are not this kind of word because there are never new ones. Or, as we'll explore, attempts to create them rarely get far. In the same way, there are almost never new prepositions, conjunctions, or articles popping up within our lifetimes. In, but, and the acquire no company. No new words of this kind would flummox the time traveler from 1950. In, but, and the are just directing traffic, shading what we mean when bringing the real words into play. In the house rather than behind it. To say, but asparagus is better, means something different than if asparagus is better. The house is different from a house. The small words Our mortar, not bricks. Roll the dice again, and we might not even designate cat and of with the same term. Cat is a word, while of is, well, something else. Pronouns are words of this else kind. Because in European and many other languages, there tend to be only so many pronouns, comprising a dozen or so words in a little chart, it can be unclear what a heavy workout they get, despite their small number. That workout happens for two main reasons. One is that we use pronouns to refer to ourselves, I, me, and rather obviously one is given to doing that rather a lot. The other reason is that they function as shorthand for things already spelled out, and shorthand is central to how communication works. We use the whole noun at first to introduce the concept, but then let the pronoun do the job. My accountant is pretty fast. He got my taxes done in just a week this year, and he had a lot of other clients. Illustrating this is something one almost must when of a certain age flag while discussing parts of speech. The magnificent Schoolhouse Rock shorts shown on Saturday morning television in the 1970s. I learned nuggets of grammar, numeracy, and history from those gems too, but do you, whatever age you are, remember the one about pronouns? I did not until checking while writing this. Lolly and the adverbs, conjunction, junction, those were for the ages, but the pronoun one was a bit of a dud. Useful for us here, though, was its refrain, 'cause saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down. This includes when we address people, where the nouns are names. We summon Felicia, and talking with her thereafter, refer to her as you. In much written dialogue, people use each other's names more than they would in real life. In one episode of Lucille Ball's third sitcom, Here's Lucy, amid a three-way conversation already established, Lucy says to her friend Vonda, "Well, when did you go on a diet, Vonda?" Unnatural. In real life, for her to use Vonda's name at that point would be an indication of tension. But that's just the problem, Alice. You never face your demons. In English, mostly, when you talk to someone, you refer to them simply as you. The names of what we discuss and of who we address proliferate eternally, but the way we flag them after we've introduced them into a conversation requires just a few little pronouns like he, her, you, and them. Between this and the centrality of referring to oneself, these workhorse words become part of our hardwiring. They're among language's nails, screws. We use them as subconsciously as we breathe or walk. They are linguistic basal ganglia. As such, to mess with our pronouns is to mess with our sense of the order of things. What's up and what's down? Life itself. This is especially true with matters controversial, which is why pronouns so often lead to various kinds of agita. All, especially in our times, intuitively get that pronouns have a way of stirring up trouble. Pronouns indicate gender. He, she. The two categories can seem fundamental, and thus it may itch when people propose new pronouns that are blank to gender, with Z the most influential attempt until the popularity of gender-neutral they starting in the late 2010s. This is meant using an old pronoun in a non-binary way. Jill got a haircut, and now they're waiting for a shampoo. Quite the challenge to many, despite that at this writing, people under 20 often use it effortlessly. Pronouns indicate class. This interferes with an eternal attempt to make English better. In the strict sense, there is nothing more logical than the quest to create an explicitly plural form of you, to correspond to the relationship between I and we, or she and they. Normal languages don't have just one word to express the second person, regardless of number. Yet all attempts to make English normal and logical in this regard, such as y'all, are dismissed as mere slang because they're most used in dialects outside of print and education, i.e., the less classy ones. Pronouns stand for order, logic. With their often distinct forms called subject and object, they lead one to think that it's sloppy to use the object form as the subject of a sentence. How can you say Billy and me slept
Sample complete. Ready to continue?